Oh man, I'm about to get wild up in here. Let's try this thing out and see how it works. Cause I'm feeling a little hype, a little warm off that hen, and I found this nice little beat. So let's see what's up. Sit your ass down and hit the subscribe. In case you didn't know, Cage is about to go live. So hit that like button and shake those hips while I drop this knowledge and make that drip. The haters must have thought I was playing around, but check yourself out as you move to the sound. Slide to the left, then slide to the right, but straight down the middle where it's nice and tight. It might be dry, it could be wet, but hit the share button, please don't forget. And tell your friends Cage is live on set. Boom!
Get this beat untagged for free at freebeats.io. Freebeats.io. Get this beat untagged for free at freebeats.io. 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 Freebeats.io.
All right, what's going on, everybody? We're gonna do a special edition KJ today. When you're kicking it with me, sometimes you gotta think outside the box and be a little quick on your feet and do some special things. So here we are in New Orleans Square. We're gonna go into here, grind and motivate. Me and my boys, Derek and Joe, who are coming up. Be ready to grind and motivate. All right, what's going on, everybody? KJ here, out in New Orleans Square, grind and motivate time. So this is a really, really awesome opportunity to look at two gentlemen who have a story. And I'm not even going to introduce them because they're here. They can talk about themselves. But gentlemen, thank you for joining me. But if you'd like to introduce yourself to the audience, then we'll kind of get into talking about grinding and motivating.
Okay. You want to start?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm Derek Morales,
I'm Joe Serrardo.
and we started Grind and Motivate in April. That's when we created this. We came. I had a previous business, and Joe has a lot of experience in the clothing line, so I always knew I wanted to go that way with the name of Grind and Motivate. So when the time came, when the virus came, I shut down my previous business, and that's where I made a decision to open a clothing line. So I called him at 4 a.m, and that's where this started.
Okay, so you didn't think that was like a booty call or anything, right?
Nah,
I'm messing with you.
nah.
Cool.
You know, it's just timing is everything, and everything has its purpose. And when he called me, I was about to give up on everything, and here we are now. You know what I mean?
All right, so I think it's important, right? Because right, so Derek came from the Chicken Shack, and then your history, Joe, was retail in clothing.
No, I mean, I worked in the club industries for 13 years, but during those times I met a lot of people, and I was presented with previous clothing brands when I was 21 years old, and that's how I really started, you know, investing my money into stuff like that.
Okay. So, you know, like one of the things that I think was awesome, right? So you guys know that Ty from Stunna has introduced me to you, Derek.
Yes.
And, you know, this brand that I started, you learn a lot of stuff when you're trying to create a brand and you're trying to come up, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and I think one of the most inspiring things and something that people take for granted out there, right? So, you know, I'll see people market Del Taco. I'll see them market like these $1 million corporations all the time. And then I'm like, well, you know, what about the people that you love and support, stuff like that? Mm-hmm. So I think it's really awesome what you do, especially because your mantra is to grind and to motivate. So I want to ask this, right? So how did we get to grinding and motivate? Grind, motivate, right?
Well, it goes deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
As you know, my history. You know, I spent 12 years incarcerated. So before that, grinding started. It started in the streets. You know what I mean?
Right.
I started at 14 years old grinding in the streets. You know what I mean? And I was selling a product. You know what I mean? It wasn't. But right. it was grinding. And it taught a business form. I
right.
mean, I had to go sit down and do 12 years to start to understand that I am good at networking. I am good at selling a product. It was just turning that product legal. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's where, you know what I mean? So when I was released, you know what I mean, the opportunity presented itself, and that's where I started the restaurant. And the way I took that restaurant is with my street mentality, my street knowledge of what I've gained, and I was able to move that product, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get it into the schools and advertise it. And as we spoke about, I even changed the logo to our Instagram, and that was a huge thing for us. So I got a hold of the Instagram was my main thing, because when I was released from prison, you got to remember, I went to prison in 2005. It was flip phones still. So when I was released, the first thing I noticed, everybody was glued to their phones. You know what I mean?
Right.
I never seen an iPhone before. I never saw an iPhone. I went to prison before iPhones were even released.
Okay.
So when I seen that, I was like, I knew I had to get a hold of that. If everybody's on their phone, what can I do? And I knew I had a story.
Right.
So it started with the Chicken Shack, and I would give the full details of, I'm thankful that the discipline of prison taught me, the discipline and keeping clean and, waking up early, working out, you know what I mean? So I put that in everything I do, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where with the Instagram, I showed us cleaning the kitchen, me there every day working 16 hours a day. People grabbed a hold of that. They love that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's where I learned how to use that product to give to people, and people love the underdogs. They love that comeback story, and I never shied away from that. I don't have no problem, telling people when they came to my restaurant, they would see me all full of tattoos, and they would be like, how does somebody like this own it? And I had no problem. Like, this is my past. I went through all this. I have no problem telling people, because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be who I am today. You know what I mean?
Even the greatest movies of inspiration have contrast.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shows the struggle, the grind, right? And I think grinding is too easily defaulted in the business world to somebody who, is like this business graduate, and it's not true. You know what I mean? Some of us are hustling and grinding the minute that, we're able to hit the streets as a young kid, right? And it's funny, when I met you guys, I think you said that you and Joe actually came up in the same neighborhood, right?
We did, yes.
So is this neighborhood, this Las Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Where at specifically?
On the east side of Vegas, where I grew up on the east side, like Stewart and Lamb, Charleston and Lamb area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did a police ride around out there, so I know what it was like. It was all right. No, I mean, I don't hate on it. I mean, I feel I have always been fortunate to feel fairly comfortable no matter where I go, right? You know, when I went to MEPS for the military in Oakland, you know what I mean? I can hang out in Vegas, and I think really what it boils down to is that if you have enough intelligence to not like look at the outside book cover and understand there's substance inside, right? And you have a mutual respect that you guys know that it's probably the biggest communication thing that shows disrespect is the nonverbal.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm a big guy, right? You guys aren't little guys, but to me, I'm like, I fit in everywhere because I show love and respect to everybody.
100%.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the key thing for what you guys are trying to do, because you're building something. You're building an empire. It represents the 702, right? It represents your core values. It represents your history and represents your story, right? And I think the big thing that, you know, would connect the audience, especially with what you're doing, is, right, because someone like me, right, like, you know, I'm trying to learn business on the outside, right? I know business within the government, but I'm trying to understand business on the outside. And it was culture shock because, you know, here I am looking at my circle like, man, I got all these friends, right? And I'm gonna get this, and this. And then I came up with what I think is the rule of 30. I think about 30% of your circle really will have your back, and then 30% of that 30% will genuinely be engaged, constantly trying to help you grow and cut you so you can grow and stretch you so you can build, and say, hey, you're not going the right direction, versus someone to be like, oh, he's not going the right direction, but you know, you know, because we talking about real money here, right? Because you both, you know, you are all in. Like, that's the one thing you said, you were all in invested in your empire. And what I love about your empire, so let's talk about one thing real quick, right? Let's talk about, Nashville, Tennessee. What's going on out there on the East Coast?
So yeah, we locked in a deal. You know, the blessings came. I met that person through social media, and we built a connection through the social media with his music. I heard his music. I loved it. You know, I related to it. So we grew a connection through that. I helped post him. You know what I mean? We helped each other. You know what I mean? As you just said,
right.
When you get into the business, you're gonna realize that the ones that are really gonna support you are the people you don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't expect the ones that know you to support you, because it's not gonna happen, because they see a different person than everybody else sees. Because, you know, most people, you know, they lack a lot within themselves. You know what I mean? And that's what I've noticed. You know, and then when they see you, they know you, and you're living the dream in front of them, and they probably have a dream, but they don't have what it takes to live that dream. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's where it goes, that they won't support you until you really make it. Then they want to support you because it's what's popular.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Now with Nashville, you know, that connection came for a reason, and we built a relationship. And when the time came, you know, they do music out there. That's the people we're connected. They're into the music.
Right.
And they do the same lifestyle. You know, they grind and motivate. That's what they do. So when I presented this to them, they were all in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So our thing was quality. We have the best quality to give. Our quality is up there with the top, with the Nikes and the polos. And we made sure that if we were gonna do this, and we talked about, I have lost a lot of money in just figuring out what quality we're gonna get. Right. You know, and getting samples and getting shirts and realizing, no, that's not what we want. That quality, when you wash it, it shrinks. You know what I mean? So I made sure that our quality was at its best when I started dealing with them. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at now.
Well, I think you're building an empire, right? And you're not trying to hustle no one.
No.
Like, it's like, look, you know, we're gonna go all in. We're gonna give you the best quality stuff, so you come back and then you bring.
Well, the thing is I know how it feels to get hustled. As we spoke about, you know, my previous business.
Yeah. Are you allowed to talk about that?
I don't want to get into the name of the business.
Yeah, we don't need to.
But
well, let's talk about the piece about where you said you had the hard lesson about learning business.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I invested. I was, you know, given a good amount of money through, you know, my family made good decisions, and I invested that money into a restaurant, and it's not what I thought it was or what the numbers were. So we invested a large amount, and we weren't making no money.
So the
you know
return
what I mean?
on investment that was promised never came to
And
fruition.
but like I said, through that situation, I learned so much about business. You know what I mean? And I know what it is to have my back against the wall and have to figure something out to make it. So I know what it is to have a restaurant and making so much money and almost triple that money because I went out there and grinded. I handed out flyers. I went to the schools.
Right.
I did what I had to do because I didn't have the money to do what most big businesses, so I had to do it on my own. So what did I do? Day and night, handing flyers, you know what I mean? Networking, you know, meeting people, you know what I mean? Always out there, you know, with the social media.
Right.
That's where pretty much where my blessing came was through social media because like I said, I took a hold of it.
Right.
And I did something different with it, you know what I mean? But even doing that different, that's where the problem happened with them, with them, because I had no choice but this was gonna help me, and I chose to do it. That they weren't happy with the route I was doing, but that route was helping me. You know what I mean? So that's where I learned so much in business when it came to that. Like I told you, the real gangsters are in that business world. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think it's important for you guys to know that, you know, I host a leaderish form. I call it leaderish because, you know, in leadership, I don't think there's really true leadership anymore. I think there's leaderish philosophies that are plug and play that may fit. And I talked about today, you know, hate is very indirect. You know what I mean? People don't understand that it's like let's say you're on my Facebook page. The fact that you don't even acknowledge me is, to me, a form of hate and disrespect.
But they're watching you. But you know they're watching you.
Right. It's like, why are you here? You know what I mean? And then I see you. We have the same circles. And what I think is important to understand is that there's a lot more respect to me with the face value that I get than the thought that, oh, this guy's a white collar guy. He's got ethics. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so what I mean is
100%.
we have to shift gradually out of this mindset. And I think we've gotten there, that it's like, oh man, look at Derek, man, look at Joe, man, all the tats and stuff like that. Not good businessman. I can hustle them. When the real hustler's out there, you know what I mean?
100%.
And I think we got to get away from the book covers and the contents of what's in the reading. And I wanted to highlight that because I think there's an audience base out there within my followers that I try to groom and say, listen, you know, you need to stop worrying about what's here, but what's coming out of the mouth.
100%.
Number one is what actions they're doing. Look at their actions. What are their actions speaking?
Well, you know, I got a saying, all whoa, no doa. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of talk, right? You know what I mean? It's like this morning, you know, I was like, I was talking about, man, there's a lot of folks posting a whole lot of MLK stuff on Monday. And it's only Wednesday, and they posting all kinds of stuff that's contrary to you know, that stuff. And I think that, you know,
People want to fit in.
I think we have a large audience of people out there, right? So I'll share something about the military, right? So when you join the military, most, from my experiences, are running away from something. We're all trying to run away from something and become something different.
100%.
Right? Well, when you get to go into a new alumni of friends in a circle that they don't know your history. So I can be whatever I want to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The true thing, like, you know, is like you could be the Harvard graduate and I could be the high school dropout, vice versa. You know what I mean? But you don't know. So you get to redefine yourself. And I think social media, back when MySpace existed with the, like, little stupid music in the background and all this other stuff, you get to redefine yourself every single day and create this version of you that may be 10% true. I mean, but the problem is how do you filter out the fakes from the reals, right? And usually I say it's from the consistencies, right? And consistencies goes back to grinding. Because what you say, I'm the one out working 16, 18-hour days. I'm putting my money up. You know what I mean? Every time you grind, right, and you're doing your thing, right? Fortunately, you get to be in business, you know, with your bride, because you get to do things together, right? But if you didn't, that takes time away from your family, right? You got a little one, right? It takes time from the little one, right?
He's actually at home right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you're trying to do your thing, and so I think that's huge. And I'm foot stomping that because too many people within your circle will say you're whining when it's like, no. I'm trying to do something positive, and I'm trying to come up, and I'm looking for that organic support to grow. Because best believe if you've given some shit away for free, they remember who you are. whether it's your former business or what you do now. And so I think that's really awesome. So let's talk about motivate, right? Because I love motivation. I did it for 28 years, in the military. And it is, I think it's become hairs that have been split.
Right.
I mean, the core catalyst to motivate is to motivate, but it's very plug and play now, right? So for your sense and purposes, right? Motivate is your motivation based on your lessons learned? Like, what was your number one thing right now that is keeping you motivated? What is your why behind your hustle in this?
Mine personally is the motivation of helping, mostly where I come from, helping those and letting them see a different aspect. You know what I mean? 100%. My motivation comes from, even in there, I was the first one up. You know what I mean? I was up at anywhere from 5 to 6 in the morning. You know what I mean? I was the first one working out. I always read. I made sure I read a book a week. You know what I mean? So, I did, like we spoke, I did 8 years in solitary confinement. All I did, I was by myself. So it was just me versus me. So I got to find who I am, and like you say, that, that fake. I was able to look myself in the mirror and dilute that fake out of me and really find, what is it that I want? Who am I? Right. And I had to find myself, and the motivation comes with me. I've read so much, and I went so deep within myself, and I read so many spiritual books, from Bruce Lee, to Buddhism. I read a lot of great leaders, you know what I mean? And I gained so much knowledge, and that's where the motivation, I know when I speak up on something, I'm not speaking up on it just to speak up on it. No, I'm speaking up on something that I have knowledge behind, or something that I researched and I studied on it. You know what I mean? But, nobody wants to sit there and read these books for days and hours, you know what I mean? And that's where the real knowledge comes from, you know what I mean? Is reading, you know what I mean?
Right. So, Joe, you guys I don't see on social media hardly anything y'all do separate under this brand. How important, how critical is it for your partnership, for you guys to continually do things together? Like when I came in, I said, "Hey, is Joe being?" You know what I mean? You're like, "No, we're gonna wait, right?"
Yeah, 100%.
And absolute, right? How critical is that, and how much do you think people take it for granted out there?
I think it's one of those, I'm a big believer in you are who you surround yourself with. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm going to be with somebody anytime throughout the day, it might as well be my business partner, somebody that motivates me and kind of gives me that inspiration to be like, all right, he's going this hard, I got to go this hard too. Okay. You know what I mean? So it's one of those to where, I'm very particular we were a big believer in energy. You know what I mean? You got to protect your energy, and not everybody deserves our energy. So it's kind of one of those. If we're going to do this, I might as well do it with somebody that, you know what I mean, I fully believe in, and that it motivates me, you know what I'm saying, and put me in the position I'm in right now. So that's that, and the same thing with the brand. You can't really motivate nobody without being an example of the grind, or really being that true example, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to listen to somebody and they're like, oh, I'm doing this. If you're not really doing it and showing me, then how am I going to get motivated off of you? Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those. Who I've surrounded myself with is so important,
Yeah. Well, I mean, actions speak louder than words.
100%.
Right? And so it's real easy to say. It's a lot more difficult to do, And one of the charges even for my listeners or your followers is, I would say, get out from behind them keyboards. You know what I mean? I want to see less memes and more pictures you out there doing the things.
Go read a book. Go read a book.
Or something like that, right?
Like even right now, like we talked about, fitness was a big thing when I got out. You know what I mean? Yeah. But right now, my motivation is not on that. My motivation is my mind right now. Right. So I make sure I read. You know what I mean? I make sure I do researches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even our clothing line, I'm always seeing what's the next new thing. I'm always constantly. If you're on social media, use it to better yourself. Right. You know what I mean? That's what people, they get glued to it. You know what I mean? Even myself, I can admit, I be on it a lot, but I only follow motivational quotes. I'm always studying. I'm always reposting it to motivate other people. Right. You know what I mean? And that's where it's at. You know what I mean? Don't just do it to do it. Do it for a bigger meaning.
How hard is that been for you?
What is that?
So people know you.
Yeah.
And they know your history. How many have you felt are not buying in to the version, the more educated, the more intellectual, the more positive, the more inspiration version of you? right? So if you come from a history, right, your story, right, you're incarcerated, then you're like, man, I grew from that, and I'm now this.
Yeah.
Did you sense any of your longtime following fall out, or were they already gone, or have people been receptive to it's like, man, I get it. You know what I mean? It makes sense to me. Like, have you experienced any of that?
You mean like following or like people around me? What do
Yeah,
you
like
mean?
how much has it grown, right? I mean, how much has been reciprocated? I push out a post that says, like, perform repetitive tasks
Well,
and
yeah,
stuff like
it's
that.
if if you really go into the social media and you look at your insights and all that, like I got a huge insight following, right? But of course, you post something and you don't get that many likes. That's why I don't worry about none of that. I just keep pushing, because eventually, if I keep doing it and I know I'm being true to myself, that's all that matters to me, is me being true to myself. I'm not, see, a lot of people don't understand, yeah, money's a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? But we don't really do this for the money, you know what I mean? We know the money is going to come. We really live in our dream. This is what me and him really want to do, you know what I mean? And even our relationship, like you say, you know what I mean? I'm a big, firm believer in manifestation. You know, I pray several times a day. You know, people ask me how you got what you have. They don't even know how many times I pray. You know what I mean? People don't even have the discipline to do that. You know what I mean? You know, and that's where, I know not only did I manifest somebody like him in my life to be, because I had my own brother was my business partner, and he ain't even standing here with me. You know what I mean? And I see him as my brother now. You know what I mean? Even though we have the same blood, doesn't mean we're brothers like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have the same blood, but me and him see. God put us together for a bigger reason. You know, I'm a spiritual individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta
and
be
I
on
know,
purpose.
me and him just see everything the same way. We don't like. It's amazing how it is. You know, and it took all those losses in the previous business, the money I have lost, the friendships I have lost. I have lost many friendships because of the reason we just spoke on. Is that now me living my dream? Some people can't understand you living your dream because they've been brainwashed to think you have to go work, and you know what I mean, you have to have a good job, and you can't live your dream. You know what I mean? Some people are scared to take that risk. I know people that have a good amount of money, but they won't even take that money out and invest in themselves. You know what I mean? Because they want to live comfortable, and I refuse to live comfortable. You know what I mean? And that's what separates me from a lot of the people that have. I lost people? Yeah, I've lost. It's pretty much us now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's my curl circle, which is all of us push this brand, to be honest. And that's where I'm at. If you ain't, like you said, like you have people that I don't follow everybody. If you ain't liking my pictures, if you're not supporting me, I unfollow you, because I don't need to watch you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where I'm at. I don't need to watch you. Now, if you want to watch me and I'm not watching you, then that's a personal thing. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at in my life. If you're not supporting, I cut people off fast, because I don't owe nobody nothing. You know what I mean?
I dig it.
And that's where I'm at. If you ain't supporting and helping, because I help everybody. You know what I mean? I help. You know what I mean? If you have a product, I'm gonna help you push that product. That's how that's how my networking is so great, because I'm not a hater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people don't understand that. You can't build in business if you're a hater. It won't. You know what I mean?
So speaking of which, talking about building others up. So I want to move over to that wall. So we're gonna bring this camera over this way, because you told me a story. I'll let you guys go this way. You told me a story about what inspired you to make this, but also it was all about helping out the folks that you knew.
Yeah, 100%. So it started with the previous business that I owned.
Okay.
And they had a talent. This is all canned spray paint, free-handed. And they had a talent, and I told them, hey, let's bring this to light for me.
Okay.
And I had pretty much the same concept as Vegas. It's where I'm from, born and raised. I love my city. I have a I have a strong relationship with the city, but I love it. You know what I mean? And that's what I stand on. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, they did, you know what I mean? They're great at what they're doing, and I told them, you guys have a talent. Why, if you did it the right way and you change your energy and the way you think, and here they are today. Actually, one of the person just got the lease of a place right up here, and he's gonna start doing. He has his own gallery. He's gonna start doing I think he's even doing teaching. You know what I mean? So I motivated him to even see bigger than what he even seen. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it all started with that place, that previous business, and then from there they did a couple more businesses. You know what I mean? Through my networking of what I do, I was able to connect them, and now they even found their own way,
Right.
and now they they're doing multiple things, and now he has a business.
What is at stake if this doesn't succeed? And I'm not saying it wouldn't, but what is at stake? And that drives home a why. So for instance, like when I go to combat, what's at stake if we don't train? What's at stake if we don't take it serious, right? And I'm going back to core thing that I know a lot of my followers and myself have. You have a little guy, right? You made mistakes in the past. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about just grind and motivate. I'm talking about you as a community leaders, bouncing back, being a lighthouse, having a story. Like, what is at stake? Like when you were in that one spot of meditation and you're like, who is impacted if you don't grind and motivate?
Myself, to be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not living my dream. I'm not living my full potential, and that's the only fear I have, is God and not being true to myself.
Okay.
And if I can't be true to myself and help other people and do that, yeah, that's pretty much where it.
All right. So that's your why, people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Same with you.
It's one of those, I don't like to put that energy out there and think like, what do we lose? It's more, what do we gain out of this situation?
Right.
To where, if what he went through with his last businesses, with me and mine, it's it's a learning lesson,
Right.
and I don't take L's as losses. It's a lesson, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
it's one of those to where I rather learn a lesson, or I've worked in the club industries for a long time, and going there being unhappy, doing all that, that's more of a loss to me, and having to go to work and being unhappy. If I'm going to lose at something, I might as well do something that I want to lose at, and something that's ours, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of those to where it's I don't want to put that energy out there, you know what I mean? And I'll let everybody else.
I dig it.
I've lost
it.
a few times.
100%.
You know what I mean? And everything, and I bounce back.
And that's
because I have a higher we have a higher understanding in our faith, and we know you never fail. You only learn. That's it. 100%. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I know people with a lot of money, right? But they have no knowledge with that money, and they're miserable because their life it's just about their money now, and they don't really help nobody. They miserable.
They just counting it.
And to me, money's a tool. Yeah, it's like you see me with gold on, and the reason why I have gold, because at the end of the day, I invest in myself. I don't have no bad habits, and I actually posted that today. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't gamble. You know what I mean? So I invest in me, and gold keeps going up in value. So I invest in myself. You know what I mean?
Got it.
So if anything ever would fail, at least I have something to go sell, and I have substance to get back on my feet. You know what I mean? Or then the day, what's money with no knowledge? If I know people that were left a lot of money. Like, we strive hard for our kids, right? That's our thing. But I know a lot of this is, and I'm talking about personal. This happened within my own family, to be honest with you. Okay, we were left a lot of money. I'm the only one that pretty much had knowledge behind, because I was willing to sacrifice in my life, and I had an understanding. I know what it is to lose everything. So I don't value money like a lot of people value money. You know what I mean? That's why I'm able to build a team and help people. See, a lot of people have money, but they don't even know how to build teams because they're so greedy and selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They got no skills. They got no people.
And I know, and I know a lot of people. So at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Even if I lost everything, you know what I give my son? I'm going to give him millions of dollars of game. And that's knowledge.
Right.
And maybe it's not on me to do it. Maybe the knowledge I'm going to be able to give him, maybe he can do something more with it. Right. So I'm giving him knowledge. I'm not going to give him money. Because giving him money is only going to crash into a wall.
Well, you just open up a new can of perspective. Generational wealth is not necessarily money.
Right, 100%.
Right? I mean, it's
I say it all the time.
like I was given this, knowledge-wise when I was coming up. I'm giving you everything, right? Because everything you do every day is a reflection that he's going to grow up and see and watch, and and the friendships and the loyalty. There's a lot of lessons, you know, like I would tell my kids during the school year. I said, you know, the academics, I've never really had to default to anything I learned in high school. I said, what's gotten me through life is treating people with dignity, respect, networking, knowing people, giving more than what I ask for, right?
100%.
I said they don't teach that stuff in school.
Nah.
Right.
And I said, and if you want to get by in the world, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. To even get deeper, even what you're doing right here, I admire what you're doing. You're invested. You went and purchased your own camera. You're investing, and you brought your sons with you, and you're showing them something that a lot of people don't even show their own kids.
Yeah, they need to see the reality.
And
of the
you're
world.
seeing, you're showing them the truth. So you invested your money in giving them a knowledge right now.
Right.
So you're doing both things. You're living your dream, and you're showing them that they could live their dream. And I admire that, man. Yeah, I really do, man.
100%.
You know what I mean? We speak about that all the time.
No, thank you.
100%.
know?
But that's why we're here, right?
100%.
You know what I
Man.
mean? That's deep, though.
So I got one last question. What's next? Like if it's not like a classified thing, right? So obviously you have this, right? Like what is next if you're allowed to share it? You know what I mean? Because I know you have other stuff going on, right? But if we want to talk about, is it what's next in growing this brand? Is it just getting back into my community support? Is it like what's the next step for you guys
To be
besides
honest,
Tennessee?
to be honest, what isn't?
Okay, what is it next, right? Okay, fair enough, right? So you see how in the box thinking I was, right? And I like that because like I am very much a broad thinker, but my broad is still structured.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Versus you're giving perspective is like, nah, I mean we're gonna succeed no matter which way the current goes.
100%.
Right? And
We have so much faith and believe in ourselves, and what isn't? Why me and you, we could be business partners here in the next couple of years. Who knows?
we could. I'm sitting here
You know what I
asking
mean?
you where you buy your clothes from, right?
You know,
So
at the end of the day, what isn't? That's where we at. What we open minded. You know what I mean? And we're here to help people, and there's so many business coming at us because we're good business. You know what I mean? I don't hide nothing. Everything is there. I stand on everything I am, and everything I speak about, I live daily, and I don't hide nothing. You know what I mean? So we have so many people. Man, it's amazing. It's just a blessing. Like the people that it don't stop.
Yeah, don't
I love it,
You know what I mean? Even just being here right now, before starting this, a person walked in that wants me to help them with their business. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's every day is something like this. I've already helped. I already told you there's another restaurant I helped. I didn't charge them. I did consulting for free for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm not in it for the money, but now I developed a relationship with those people, and those people, if I ever need them, now they're there. And that's where it's at. Like it's not always about the money. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's the big word that I used last year coming in this year. I'm still using it, right? And if I had little sound, I'd say it's called reciprocating, right? You know what I mean? That's called a network, right? And I always found it amusing where it's like, oh yeah, I got you. Let me send you my price sheet. And I'm like, man, I was like, like word of mouth is the biggest and most powerful marketing tool that's out there. And if I'm just trying to come up and I ain't got a whole lot, when I do come up,
Right.
I'm not going to leave those who help me come up behind. And it's a dirty game that, that exists because too many people have done that to others. And I think it makes it harder for those who have a code of ethics that is like, look, I'm here to help and let's grow together. Right.
That's what our company stands on, and we run into a lot of people that they have that little fame, and they try to use that fame to and it's like, what do you have other than that?
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's
What is your fame? Because you ain't built nothing on your own,
right?
So why you even need us? What is your fame doing for you? So even that, and look at where we're at today. We're moving this brand. We don't have nobody big behind us. And we've sat down with big people, and we even go the other route. We don't even want to deal with them because
No.
it's not organic. It's not pure of heart. You know what I mean? If you don't come with the qualities that we look in within, that we ourselves hold each other accountable,
right,
for these qualities, they don't got it. I don't want it.
Yeah, your soul's not for sale.
Nope,
100%.
can't. I always say it all the time. My body doesn't belong. My body, you can take my body. My body doesn't belong to me, but my soul, that belongs to me.
Yes, it does.
You know what I mean? Can't take my soul, never.
All right, so this is
100%.
this is.
If you see, you know, that's what we mind, body, and soul.
Did you? Well, we're gonna have to get that one at the end. Did you
Yeah.
get that one?
If you see all my tags, that's what it is. Grind and motivate is the movement, mind, body, and soul.
Okay, that's the core value.
100%.
Okay, so last thing, right? We'll wrap it up. And I would ask this: anything to the listeners, yours, because this is gonna touch mine. This is gonna touch your listeners. Like, what's your words of motivation? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, what would you tell them going forward? We got 2021 here. We just had inauguration today. You know, we live in a world that's just, I don't know. I think we're more united than divided, honestly. I think we just are perceived as divided based on whatever the media pushes. I think a lot of us have more in common, and we're just trying to do us. And unfortunately, some folks doing us is not necessarily the most ethical or doesn't align with your core value, right?
100%.
And it doesn't have to be conflict, but it's like, stay out of my way. So
You got to stand on who you are. I think.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing right now is you know, they try to brainwash a lot of people. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, is stay true to you. You figure it out. You look deep within yourself and don't be that sheep. You know what I mean? Don't follow. You do the research. Don't just because you hear this person said this person about. You know what I mean? I studied everybody. I read over 1,000 books in there. You'd be surprised what books I did read, because when I read a book, I didn't look at the person. I wanted to understand more of that person, and I take the good and I dilute the bad. That's all
the
I
beauty
do.
of most good books. There's not a whole lot of pictures in it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Force you to think.
I think, the number one thing is, you know, 2021, stay true to yourself, find yourself, grow,
100%.
figure out what is it that you want.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Stop worrying about what that person, or, you know, stop worrying about what the world is saying. What about you? Look at you. Look within yourself. What is it that you want?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because we've been, you know, when it comes to religions, it comes to, you know, even, you know, ethnics of what, you know, we've been taught. And I feel like where we at today in this world, the truth is coming to light, and it's more of, what are we? Am I what I know, we're human. We're one race.
Right.
And that's human.
Human race, right?
You know what I mean? So
100%.
if we don't find ourselves and fix ourselves, that's where it's at. You know what I mean? And it's us healing. You know what I mean? I feel like we all have been damaged, you know, betrayed, even lied to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like we need to heal ourselves and find ourselves and look deep within yourself and figure out what is it that you looking for? What is it that you want?
Okay. Joe, say you just ditto?
No, I mean, I agree with everything he says, and I'm a big believer in all that too. And one of my big things I always tell people, you know, like my sister, everybody, slow motion better than no motion. You know, do something every day to do what makes you happy, to find yourself and do what's best for you. You know what I mean? And who cares what the next person thinks? And that's how I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the social medias and how many likes I get and who, you know what I mean? And it's kind of one of those, and it's more about looks and appearance instead of the real soul of a person, and really on you know what I mean? That's more of where I'm at, kind of like where it's at today. You know what I mean? A lot of people are scared to really take that chance on themselves. You know what I mean? And really fully believe in themselves, and that's important. You know what I mean? And you just got to do it. And don't be scared to put in the work, because it takes a lot to do what we do. You know what I mean? To get up every day and chase your dream.
Yeah, especially if you're old like me and already hurt.
Right, you know,
Or do it purely.
Right, 100%.
Let's be honest, a lot of people don't do it purely.
Oh yeah.
And it comes with everything, working out, what people don't like. People live a false identity, and I feel like a lot of people portray something that they're really not, and they use substances, whether it's drinking, drugs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Learn to do it by yourself.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? That's what I believe in. You know what I mean?
Come and see us at 900 Karen Ave, Suite C111, and visit us on Instagram at Grind and Motivate Apparel.